everyone. So today we're going to be looking at some of the new releases that will be coming out throughout the rest of 2025. I've done this type of video a couple times and everyone seems to enjoy it, so I thought I would do it again. So just a few housekeeping things. These are not going to be all the notable releases that are coming out the rest of the year, just the ones that I personally am most interested in. I would be here forever if I listed all of the prominent new manga releases. Also, I'm going to list the current release dates for all of these manga, but they definitely could change or even be pushed back into next year. So if you're watching this video a couple months from now, some of these things might be different. I'm going to be reading the synopses of these manga for you. I personally don't really know what most of these are about. I just heard some buzz about them, or I heard the initial pitch by the publisher, but at this point I've forgotten them, so it'll be a good refresher for me and for you to go ahead and read the synopsis. So the first one is one immediately I'm not even sure. I'm definitely not going to pre-order it. I'm not sure if I'm going to pick it up at all because I've read two works by this author. One of them I loved, one of them I absolutely hated. It was one of probably the most disgusting thing I've ever read. But this one is called Brain Damage. It's also published by Fantagraphics. This is a collection of short stories, I believe, and I'm going to read the synopsis to you. It sounds weird and not like super disgusting, but I will wait until reviews come out to actually read it or pick it up. And I'm just getting these synopses from Amazon, so if they're wrong, it's not my fault. So this one says, Brain Damage collects 4 new short manga stories, a tantalizing blend of the hilarious and the macabre. In Labyrinth Quartet, 4 identical young women trapped in an eerie building must solve the mystery of why they've been gathered there, while being hunted by a knife-wielding stalker. In Curse Room, a plucky health aide is tasked with keeping zombies peaceful, lest they go on a brain-eating rampage. In Family Portrait, people throughout town are strangely disappearing without a trace, and the key to it all is a senile and perverted old man. That one sounds like it might be gross. Finally, in Blood Harvest, a series of gruesomely mangled bodies are found in pristine cars, and it appears something sinister lurks within these masses of glass and steel. So, those stories sound horror-y and weird, which I like. I don't like super gross disgustingness that was happening in one of this author's other works. So, we'll see. I'll read reviews, and I will probably ask people who are more likely to pick this up than me if they think I'll like it. But I did want to list it because it is a prominent release and it's by an indie publisher and I always like supporting them. Next up on July 22nd is Last Samurai Standing, Volume 1. So this is put out by Kodansha and the synopsis says, the year 1878, the 11th year of the Meiji era in Japan, and more than a decade since the samurai were stripped of their privileges and swords outlawed on public streets. A mysterious flyer appears in all corners of the land, luring those skilled in martial arts to Kyoto with the premise of riches beyond common imagination. As warriors deprived of purpose flock to the appointed place at the appointed time, what awaits them is no ordinary task, but an all-out war against each other. So that sounds like death game stuff, which I enjoy, tournament things, but it also says it's for fans of Golden Kamuy, which I love, and also fans of Blade of the Immortal, which I enjoyed. So I will pick this up and let you know what I think of it when the first volume comes out. Next up, we have another weird one put out by an indie publisher. So this one, I don't have an exact release date. This says September 9th, but the release date on the publisher's website is in August, so I'm not sure which is which. But this is called My Gorilla Family. This is put out by Living the Line under their Smudge imprint. I've bought all of them that they've released so far. I haven't yet read Face Meat, but I've enjoyed the other 3 that I've read. The synopsis for this one is pretty funny. It says, have you ever pondered what it would be like to marry a gorilla? Or to have your deepest desires granted by a satanic genie? Have you ever considered sacrificing your children to culinary aliens? Maybe. If so, My Gorilla Family is for you. Comprising 14 mind-melding stories from the early 1970s, Ijima Ichiro's My Gorilla Family offers an intimate, profoundly humanistic, and profoundly disturbing introduction to one of the most bonkers imaginations in the history of Japanese comics. So I'm also on the fence about this one, but I will be picking it up no matter what because I kind of view supporting Living the Line as supporting a local business to me. So I like to buy all of their works. And this one sounds like it could be funny, but also weird. Hopefully not too gross. Next up, we have a very, very bittersweet title for me. So we have my highly anticipated Sonda. This is by Paru Itagaki of Beastars fame. I love anything she does, and I can't wait to read Sonda. The problem is it's published by Titan Manga, and I think all of their releases are horrible in terms of quality. So I'm really not excited for the physical quality of this, but I am excited to read the manga. So this is coming out on September 2nd. This synopsis is kind of long. So, in a near future Japan, Christmas has faded into myth, and the birth rate has dropped so dramatically that children are now the most precious commodity. Society has artificially extended adolescence to preserve their youth, and traditional holidays like Christmas are a mere legend of the past. It doesn't make sense to me, but okay. Volume 1 of Sanda introduces Sanda Kasashige, a middle school student who unexpectedly becomes entangled in a strange and dangerous mystery. When his classmate, Fuyumura Shiori, accuses him of carrying a curse that could help her find her missing friends, Onoichie, Sanda's life takes a dramatic turn. Together, they embark on an incredible adventure to unravel the truth behind Ichie's disappearance and uncover the hidden magic of Christmas itself. As they delve deeper into the mystery, the duo faces external threats and internal challenges, questions about loyalty, courage, and the power of belief. Along the way, they confront the true meaning of friendship, trust, and the possibility of magic in a world that has all but forgotten it. It's very interesting that they say nothing about the Santa on the cover. But whatever, I'm very excited to read it. This was kind of like one of my Hail Mary manga releases. I wish Viz had released it instead, but I am excited to read it. Next up, we have kind of a shocking, surprising manga release. So we have a City Hunter Omnibus 1. This is put out by Kana, and it will be released on September 23rd as of right now. The synopsis for this one is kind of weird, but it says, James Bond meets Lupin III. A stylish cocktail of hard-boiled action and raunchy comedy, manga classic City Hunter follows exceptional marksman and compassionate sleazeball Roy Seiba as he sweeps corruption from the lavish 80s Tokyo nightlife, one evil at a time. I think it's Saiba, not Seiba. Readers follow the City Hunter as he takes on underground odd jobs ranging from serving as the bodyguard of a captivating madam to executing a vengeful assassination of a corrupt politician, navigating through quick-witted thrills and intense dramas. The City Hunter Ro Saiba does the dirty work of cleaning up Tokyo's nightlife with his heart of gold worn on his sleeve. So I love to read classic manga. It's really interesting to read the inspiration for a lot of more modern manga, and this one was very popular in its own right. The only thing I want to say is that I really hope they don't print that on the cover because that is so ugly. It's a Netflix sticker. I hope it's not on the cover. Next up is another one put out by Kana, and it's also by the same creator. So this one is called Cat's Eye. This cover looks like, do you remember Totally Spies? I don't know how many people know about Totally Spies, but it reminds me of Totally Spies, except for more adult. This one is also coming out on September 23rd, and it says, Cafe owners by day, art thieves by night, the three sisters, Rui, Ai, and Hitomi, have high-risk lives outside of their day jobs. Hitomi especially needs to keep her secret under wraps since she's dating Toshio, the police officer assigned to catch the Cat's Eye thief. That's interesting. Cat's Eye's targets are easy to spot. They're all art pieces authored by acclaimed genius painter Heinz. What museums don't know is that this artist is the missing father to the three Cat's Eye siblings. As the sisters reclaim one piece after another, spreading their infamous name, a conspiracy gradually begins to reveal itself. How can their father come out of hiding when the bloodthirsty syndicate that betrayed him to steal his work and fame, many of whom were once his closest apprentices and art collectors, are still so powerful in the art world? When Cat's Eye tightropes another canvas out of a heavily guarded exhibit, the cops are pressed to apprehend the thief. Can the sisters discover the truth about their missing father, or will they be apprehended by Hitomi's star-crossed lover Toshio or killed by the looming syndicate responsible for the father's disappearance? As the heists continue, the stakes only get higher. So that sounds really fun to me, and like I said, I like to collect classic manga and at least give them a try. And again, it's another indie publisher, well, a smaller publisher in English, so I'm really excited to read that as well. Next up, this is one that's specifically for me, so this is called My Beloved Supper. It's a vampire manga put out by Yen Press on September 23rd. It says, Yoru is a vampire, a predator of the night dwelling among humans. But compared to a meal of fresh blood, he'd much rather partake in the culinary delights of the human world. Fragrant stews, tasty meat buns, and sweet pastries are all irresistible delicacies to him. Unfortunately, being a vampire means he cannot stomach human food, unless he first drinks blood as an appetizer. Thus, Yoru spends his nights sinking his fangs into criminals and evildoers, all for the sake of the beloved supper waiting him. So this is just a one-shot, and I think it sounds kind of funny, and it's about a vampire, so of course I'm going to pick that up. Next up is another one-shot. This one is put out by Kodansha, and it will be released on October 7th. The synopsis for this one is pretty short. It says, a darkly comic look at the meaning and meaninglessness of life through the eyes of various adorable and occasionally psychopathic species facing extinction. Sounds sad. A humble rock is at the center of this transmigratory tale of two souls who take the form of penguins, otters, crows, and more as they learn about the value of culture, the beauty of play in the face of capitalist pressure to produce and reproduce, and the power of love in the face of total annihilation. So this sounds like it could either be too nihilist for me or kind of a perfect commentary through animals, which I love. So we'll see how it goes. This is, like I said, also a one-shot, so I will read it no matter what. Now, I'm sure you never expected to see an isekai on a list of anticipated manga from me, but next up is an isekai. This is called Isekai Metal Volume 1. This is also published by Titan Manga. Meet Alex, a die-hard metalhead who, after getting electrocuted during his band's farewell gig, wakes up in a world full of dragons, werewolves, and monsters that are just begging for a guitar solo. And no, the shock he gets entering this new world isn't from the electrocution at his gig, it's from realizing that, somehow, the afterlife isn't quite as he imagined. Instead of a peaceful resting place, he's been dropped into a land where metalheads would literally die for the chance to live in. With his trusty Flying V guitar, a level 999 power boost, and a heart full of rock and roll, Alex decides it's time to crank the volume up to 11 and save this crazy new world. Dragons? Perfect for a shredding solo. Werewolves? Time to headbang into battle. This isn't just any isekai, but one where the magic flows like electric riffs and every battle feels like a rock concert. That sounds really funny, and it's about a metalhead, so of course I have to read it. Once again, it's too bad it's being published by Titan Manga, but I think that sounds really fun and definitely up my alley, so I will be picking that up for sure. Next up is another one put out by Living the Line. On Amazon it says the release date is November 4th, but on the publisher's website it says sometime in October, so we'll see. This is called The Girl Who Raised the Dead, and it's by the same author as Her Frankenstein, which I really enjoyed. So it says, a young woman is struck dead by a bolt of lightning, which is kind of funny considering the last one had someone die from a bolt of lightning. But then a miracle. Her charred body rises into the air and absorbs an eerie orb of light. When the girl comes back to life, she discovers that she possesses amazing telepathic powers. She can move objects. She can force people to do things against their will. She can see the future. She can even raise the dead. So, nice and short with that synopsis, and it gives you everything you need to know. Of course, like I said, I will pick up anything by Living the Line, so this is definitely one I will have fun reading. Next up, this is probably the most highly anticipated one from a lot of people. It's definitely a lot more mainstream than some of these other ones I've mentioned, but this is, of course, the new release of Mushishi by Kodansha. This is scheduled to release November 4th, and this one is, like I said, more well-known than the other ones, but I'll read the synopsis anyway. It says, though invisible to most, tiny creatures known as mushi lurk beneath the surface of everyday reality. They exert a strange and occasionally terrifying influence on people's lives, and only experts known as mushishi carry the knowledge of how to deal with them. A mushishi named Ginkgo wanders the Japanese countryside, following rumors of various unusual occurrences. A young man who dreams the future, a child with horns growing from his forehead, a boy with the power to write creatures into being, and more. So I think I actually have all of Mushishi digitally through like a Humble Bundle, but if I enjoy the first volume, I will definitely just read through the entire thing. I am kind of a little nervous because it is slice of life, I believe, but it has enough like supernatural elements that I think I'll enjoy it, and I've heard fantastic things, of course, so we'll see. And I usually only talk about new releases in these videos, but I do want to mention one prominent final volume that's coming out this year, and that is Land of the Lustrous Volume 13, which is the final volume, as I mentioned. It's coming out on November 4th. I'm not going to read the synopsis because it's the final volume, but I love this series. It's so interesting, not like anything I've read before, and I can't wait to see how it concludes. It was interesting because Volume 12 kind of felt like it could have been an ending, so we'll see what happens here. Next up, we have kind of a unique book. This is Yokai Supernatural Parade. This is by Shigeru Mizuki. It's publishing on November 11th by Drawn and Quarterly. So this is kind of the companion to the previous yokai book, which I have right here. So this was kind of an art book, mostly an art book, but also some very brief short stories about yokai. It was a really interesting read. I love this pink cover. And so this one, I believe, is very similar, so I'll be reading that one. Next up, I'm not gonna lie, this one is kind of gonna be a cover buy because the cover looks really cool. It's called Grand Metal Organs, and it's coming out on November 25th by 7 Seas. See what happens when evolution pits humans against one another and changes them into something monstrous in this action-packed, horror-filled manga. In a world where electricity equals power, Enlil is an outcast, born without the gift. There's lots of manga about electricity today. But his dream of joining the elite electrical police department keeps him going. When he's finally given a chance, he uncovers a horrifying truth. The powerless aren't just ignored, they're erased. Betrayed by the hero he once admired, Enlil is struck down, but death doesn't end his story. Awakened with dark, unnatural power, Enlil returns, not as a hero, but as a nightmare. So that sounds like it could be horror, could just be, I don't know. It sounds fun to me, so I'm going to be reading that. Next up is one also being put out by 7 Seas. It's called Tales of the 100 Monsters Next Door, and it's coming out on November 25th. This is another one where the cover really intrigued me, but it seems to be about yokai, so let's read the synopsis. One man's life is forever altered when a late-night convenience store run leads him into the yokai market, a supernatural manga series filled with ghosts, ghouls, demons, and more. A man plagued by demons, Katagiri Jinpachi, and the curious yokai enthusiast known as Ghost Sensei Harada Oriza. Bound by their connection to the other side, their chronicle of eerie mysteries, both strange and chilling, begins here. That did not give me a lot of information, but the cover is really cool. I love the art, and I like manga about yokai, so I'll be reading that. And lastly, we have an art book from a series that is very, very, very popular right now and will only become more popular whenever the anime comes out. So that is, of course, Witch Hat Atelier, and the art book of this is coming out on December 2nd. Not much to say about this since it's an art book, but I'm going to be picking it up because I love this series and I like to collect art books of series I enjoy. So yeah, those were all the manga I wanted to talk about today. I'm sure I missed some. If you have any really prominent releases that you're excited for in the rest of the year, please leave your comments down below, letting me know what they are. I'd love to hear from you. But that's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!